All right. Hello, welcome to the Shall We Football podcast. On this podcast, we talk football and only football. So help us God. This is our second week of free agency. We filled some holes last week. Filling holes part 2. The second holes. Like any good sequel, it needs a subjective underlying name. And even classier NFL free agency analysis. This beautiful PowerPoint presentation brought to you by one of my co-hosts, AJ Donnelly. Colt on the wings as well. On the wings, in the on deck circle.
On deck, yeah.
On the ones and twos. This is season 2, episode 8. So next week, we've got, next after the free agency analysis, we got Phil coming up from the Next Man Up podcast. He's going to join Ryan and I for an interview, free agency analyst and general shenanigans. Yes, ladies, he's from the UK and he has the accent to match.
I hope he uses the word shenanigans at least once. You'll have to stay tuned to see if he does.
Oh, yeah.
But first, gentlemen, how do you measure NFL free agency hype? Do you measure it in retweets? Do you measure it in jersey sales? Do you measure it in crimes?
No. What is the answer, AJ?
The answer is moisture, Ryan.
Oh, how much moisture is there?
Well, it's measured on a scale of 1 to 10. I encourage everyone to express themselves, feeling words and descriptive terms and phrases. And as always, keep it sophisticated and classy.
As long as the dog doesn't express himself on my leg right now, I'm happy with it.
You know what? If that's God's will, then it'll be done.
I'll have to take a shower after we're done. I might need a shower after we're done anyway.
That also might have been God's will for you.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, gentlemen, he now plays for the Washington football team. He is 27th, was 27th based on his season last year. Rating by Pro Football Focus out of the wide receiver category. Gentlemen, what is your moisture level? I'm sitting, this doesn't do much for me. I'm at about a 5.
All right. Colt, you go next. I got to think about how moist I am.
That was right about my moisture level as well, AJ. A 5, maybe a 6 if I'm feeling generous. I do like the fact he's back with Ron Rivera, and I think last year we saw his capabilities unlocked a little more. He has been used kind of as a Swiss Army knife. I think he might not be used that way in Washington, but because Fitzpatrick is the quarterback, I'm a little more excited.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick adds extra moisture to any situation. I think I'm going to go like a 6.5.
All right.
Fair.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is moistening in and of himself, and I think Curtis Samuel will only add greater moisture.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he takes a lot of heat off of Terry McLaurin. On the other side, he makes you have someone that you have to pay attention to other than Terry McLaurin. And with Fitzpatrick out there slinging it around with his beard looking luxurious and his practice shorts being very tight. I think I'm sitting at a solid 6.5, like an easy, comfortable 6.5.
Okay. All right. Well, what does this do for your general wetness, which is what I understand it's a similarly measured to general hardness for those in the aquarium hobby.
Got it. Yeah.
So Corey Linsley was the top-rated center as per Pro Football Focus, and he's now going to be anchoring what was the worst line, arguably, in football. And that's the
for years, even.
Los Angeles Chargers. Linsley from the Green Bay Packers to the Chargers. Gentlemen, I'm feeling quite moist. This is a 9 for me.
Buddy.
This is a 9. This is the best, arguably the best center in the game. Going to protect Justin Herbert. I am sitting in a baby pool right now, gentlemen.
Okay.
I am exceptionally moist about this, but Colt, you go ahead.
I'm at a 10, man. I'm at a torrential downpour here.
Oh,
This is wonderful for the Chargers. They've had the worst one of the worst offensive lines for several years now.
Mm.
And getting a stud like this to anchor at center, I mean, this is huge. I'm juicy. I'm jazzy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like Andy Reid and an all-you-can-eat buffet right now, just sweating. Like I'm gonna go with like an 8.2.
Is it because he's a center?
It's because he's a center. If he was on the edge, I think I would go full on 9.7. But because he's in the middle of the line, yeah, center's an incredibly important position. It is generally less impactful than an edge lineman. I know the Chargers.
I disagree. I don't think it's less impactful, but the most like prolific, the best athletes are always going on the edge.
He's going to go on the edge.
Yeah, they're going to go on the edge. I mean, in terms of impactful, I mean, this is your that makes your offensive line calls.
Your meat and potatoes.
Yeah, guy. And I mean, they're the brains of the organization. Sometimes even more than the damn quarterback. But yeah, in terms of exciting athletes, yeah, you're right. But
here's the thing, though.
For centers, is it a 10 out of 10 for centers? Can we say
for centers? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay.
But with the center being the meat and potatoes guy, I don't get too excited about potatoes.
It's not sexy. It's not sexy.
It is something
Corey Linsley, I'm sure I'm sure he's a sexy man. I'm certain of that. It's a great last name. It rolls off the tongue. It's delicious to say.
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, boys, I'm sopping over here.
Okay.
Buddy, what can make you wetter? Let's go on. Let's find out.
Let's find out. John Johnson, the third, a free safety, come to save the day in Cleveland. He was the third rated safety from PFF in 2020.
Colt, you first.
I'm sitting at a 9 here, moisture level.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super stoked about this signing. The Browns secondary needs a tremendous amount of help. Joe Johnston at free safety. Yeah, this is a great acquisition. Will we see Grant Delpit this year too?
Yeah, I think.
Buddy, if he is anything
of
what he was in college, sans his
look the fuck
Achilles.
Out.
Yeah.
My God, man! Before he developed an allergy to tackling his last year, he was top 10 material, easily.
Absolutely,
easily. That is
okay.
That's it's faster, smaller, but faster. Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, look out if he is anywhere close to what he used to be. They went from being one of the worst back ends of their defense in football and still making the playoffs to now that safety tandem. If they can add any sort of help to Denzel Ward on the outside at corner, that's going to be a pretty stout unit back there.
Yeah, that'd be
I'm
rather
very excited
formidable.
about this. This has got me quite damp about a 9.1.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 9.05 because I don't want to take your thunder, and I respect you too much. Also, a little bit of foreshadowing. They may have gotten a little more help, and we can touch on that a little later.
Maybe so.
It's gonna be a lot of touching. It's gonna be a lot of touching. Okay, Matthew Judon going to the New England Patriots from the Baltimore Ravens. He was the 53rd rated edge rusher as per Pro Football Focus. This is not very exciting to me.
No.
I'm moistening at a rate of 5.
Yeah,
which is a significant decrease from John Johnson III.
Yeah, you're drying up quickly, sir. It went from a rainforest like the Amazon, a little bit more like Nevada. Mm-hmm. It rains some there, but not much.
Nevada at the daytimes. Yeah.
Daytime Nevada. I'm looking at like a 4.5, 4.6. Let's go 4.6.
So this is important. It's an edge rusher, right? It's a young player, young-ish, looking for a multi-year deal, and I'm sure the Patriots will make this more exciting than a 5. But as it stands, this is a piece. 50% humidity for me.
He's a piece, and I think they overpaid for that piece significantly.
I agree.
I think they could have
overpaid.
got it for less. I think the value they'll get will kind of match the price. But in terms of what they could have paid, I think this is where his utility will play out at its best.
I think it will end up being a fine contract. In a year where the salary cap decreased as much as it did, it feels like overpaying now. Look at it in 2 or 3 years at the end of this deal, when the salary cap has ballooned back to something astronomical. I think it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Colt?
Yeah, I'm sitting at about a 5.72 on this one.
I love your specificity.
It doesn't
we went 2 decimal points on that.
Yeah, I still think he's a good player, and I'm sure, like AJ said, the Patriots will do a lot with him. This definitely helps shore up their line a little bit.
I'm far more moist about your 2 decimal points than I am about Matthew Judon.
Nice.
Your 2 decimal points moisten me at a rate of about 6.253.
Yeah.
Nice. Take it a step further.
We're going to thousands now, fellas.
Perfect.
So I'm thinking this was poorly placed. We're already sitting at 50% humidity in whatever region we're choosing to describe. This puts me down at we don't know. It's purposefully ambiguous. So this I'm at like a 4.7 here. I love Kyle Van Noy. Don't get me wrong, but we just saw Matthew Judon, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever. This is a perfect piece, and I'm glad they're bringing him back. He made his bones there, blah blah blah. But I'm not excited. I'm drying up.
I am a little more excited than you. Where did you put that? About a 4?
4.7.
All right, 4.7. I'm actually moistening just a little bit at the thought of Kyle Van Noy back in New England. I think this is pushing me up to like a 6.2, because he fits so well in what Bill Belichick wants to do. He didn't just make his bones there; he excelled there. He was excellent there. He was good in Miami. He had a good enough year to warrant the contract that he signed in Miami. I get it. He was a cap casualty. But he's back where he belongs, in a defense in which he thrives.
You know what's funny when you say that, how perfect he is for the New England Patriots, is that going from the Miami Dolphins to the New England Patriots, I was looking for him as an edge rusher. Plays a lot of outside linebacker. He is not rated as an edge rusher on Pro Football Focus. He is listed as a linebacker, 26th to be exact, from last year's season, which is that's a good player. He's a very versatile player, which is why I wasn't sure if they listed him at edge or linebacker. But I'm just not excited about it. I think it's going to work out though.
That's looking like Zaven Collins more and more likely at 18 to the Dolphins to take his spot.
Well, we will absolutely get there. That will be vetted. That will be vetted and moistened and vetted and moistened even more. Colt, what do you think?
That makes me really moist.
It's not it's not incredibly exciting. I do, like Ryan said, I like the scheme fit. Being back with Belichick, Brian Flores said, "Get out of here. We don't need your kind." So he comes back home to New England. And 5.89.
Did he go to BYU, or does he actually read? Did he just go to BYU, or does he read from the Book of Mormon?
I'm going to just read from the Book of Mormon. No, he just went to BYU. He does
just
not
went to BYU.
Yeah.
Has anyone asked Zach Wilson? What is Zach Wilson's story?
Great question. I know his dad is like uber rich.
Okay. He's not going on his mission, so I don't know if he's. I mean, it doesn't matter at all. But I was just curious because a lot of those guys go on a 2-year mission.
Sean Bradley.
How devout are you? Kyle Fuller, cornerback, going from the Chicago Bears to the Denver Broncos, the 52nd rated cornerback from the 2020 season per Pro Football Focus.
That is startling that he was 52nd.
Yeah, it is. It is. The Bears, not as good on defense by the numbers.
Nope.
As people think. You know what's the most remarkable thing maybe about the entire season is the Bears made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
They started 5-1.
Also incredible.
And I think we said they were the biggest fraudulent team in the NFL back then.
We did.
Yep.
We did.
Bunch of Nostradamus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle Fuller to the Broncos is relatively moist. Maybe a 6.5. Corner was such a huge need for the Broncos, and they went out and they addressed it. So they may not need to go corner in the top 10 and with their 9th pick.
Yeah, that's about what I was thinking. This is a need.
Yeah.
And they addressed it. Maybe they don't need to address it with that near top 10 pick, that top 13
Right.
pick. They can maybe draft I don't know, a fucking quarterback, maybe.
They could
How
deal with
dare
Atlanta
you.
at 4. I don't think they're gonna have a fucking quarterback when they draft in the teens. They're 9th overall. They Trey Lance may slide to them, but it's not looking like it, bud.
So maybe the last bastion of hope for quarterback needy teams is a phone call to the Atlanta Falcons, hoping that they are not dead set on taking a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons could rake in a killing.
Yeah.
If they said, all right, we're just going to give it up and we're just going to let Matty Ice ride it out for at least one more year and just rake it in. My God, if they traded that pick, they make so much money. But this is about Kyle Fuller.
Your conversation starts with 3 first-rounders.
Exactly. It has to. It has to.
Kyle Fuller is like a 6'5".
Yeah, I'll go around there. I'll say 6'1".
Yeah.
I'll split the difference. 6'2".
Nice.
I love you. So I thought this was interesting, right?
Yeah.
Kyle Long's coming back. You love to see it. You just love to see it.
And
Joe Thuney, both offensive guards. Obviously, Kyle Long not ranked or rated last year by Pro Football Focus in 2020. Joey T, however, 10th at the offensive guard position, both going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Very exciting, gentlemen.
This is way up there. This is like a 9.4 for me.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. I love 9.4 though, and your enthusiasm is making me further moist.
Yeah. You're welcome for that. Cool.
Yeah, I'm sitting at a solid 9 here.
Yeah.
This is definitely talk about addressing a need too, and bringing.
I am much more moist about Joe Thuney.
Yeah, that too.
I got to tell you, gentlemen, when you guys say things that I like, I have the urge to award you points. Every time I hear something that I enjoy come out of either of your mouths, I want to award you points.
We can do
what kind
I
of
was
reward
thinking
system?
about it. I was thinking about this. Is just I just want to bounce that off of you guys right now.
Okay.
Sure.
This conversation is bringing me near a 9.5 right now. I was at a 9 with this double guard type move
toward climax.
So I mean this has to be a 9. This is the nice. This is the Ryan just held up a tissue, I believe, for those listening. This is a 9. This is the interior of the line solidified. We'll take no more questions, and defensive tackles are just there. Good luck getting past the Iron Curtain in front of Pat Mahomes. More importantly, they need to address that tackle spot. But this is a real fucking good
They could
start.
still theoretically bring Eric Fisher back. Theoretically.
What about Schwartz?
Schwartz could retire.
Eric Fisher was in the top 15 rated tackles last year. I mean, it's unbelievable loss.
Yeah.
But we're all feeling moist. Moral of the story.
Yeah, we're damp on that. Ooh, not so damp.
Yeah. So I'm going to actually go with a 6 here. I am excited, and I think it's going to suck. This is Sammy Watkins from the Kansas City Chiefs and Pat Mahomes and his golden arm to the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and his floppy noodle.
If Sammy Watkins wasn't getting the touches in Andy Reid's offense with Pat Mahomes, what's he going to do when he has to go out and basically be an extra blocker for Lamar Jackson?
Yeah.
So to that point, even if he's not a blocker, he was the 87th rated wide receiver for per Pro Football Focus last year. Not great. And I haven't stated how many this is out of for any position group we've talked about here. It's not a lot more than 87. This is near the bottom.
Yeah. So Sammy Watkins, he came out of Clemson with so much promise. He was so good in college, and he was decent for the Bills for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then he kind of, kind of fell off the radar a little bit. Went away for a year or two. He was hurt. He was nicked up. He felt like he was injured his entire time with the Chiefs. And then I read last week when the Ravens signed him that he's 28 years old.
I'm blown away at that.
I thought he was at least 33.
Well, I know he left college as a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah. So he was 19 or 20 when he left Clemson.
He was like D'Angelo Hall young.
Yeah. And he has been in the league for a career. He's 28.
Someone reminded me that Todd Gurley is 26?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's startling.
Yep.
And he may not even be in the league. Next year.
Although I will always remember him. I did retweet a tweet of his. He dropped his phone in the toilet. While he was pooping, and I wanted to shout out and say, "Bud, you're not alone."
Yeah, we've been there.
Yes, this is a 6 for me. Ryan, where were you with this?
Like serious 3.7. I am not excited for Sammy Watkins.
Yikers! I just want to see this crash and burn. It was like 8-point-something million for a year.
Yours feels more vindictive.
It is very vindictive. Colt?
Just a shade over 4. The system, like this, the player in the offense, having a veteran receiver for Lamar Jackson, I get that. Sammy Watkins, I don't know. He hasn't been impressive in quite some time, in my opinion. And I'm in the Southwest here, man. It's getting arid.
Yikers.
It's a dry heat. Speaking of dry heat.
So I bring this name up. This is Malcolm Butler from Tennessee Titans, yeah?
He was the Tennessee
Titans to the Arizona Cardinals. And this is Malcolm Butler. This is Super Bowl hero Malcolm Butler, the cornerback. And despite the fact the Titans struggled, he was the 15th rated cornerback last year.
He was good. Wow.
Not too bad. Not too shabby.
He's good.
Now, I bring this to our attention because this is a name. We know this name. Any football fan knows who Malcolm Butler is. He's a good player.
I have besmirched the name of Malcolm Butler in the past. And I would like to rescind that. I rebuke myself in the name of the Lord. It pains me greatly to say this is an upgrade from Patrick Peterson last year.
Big time.
Yeah.
Like significant.
I'm in agreement.
I not big time as an upgrade for Patrick Peterson, but big time as an upgrade for that secondary.
Yeah. It
is an upgrade for sure.
7.2 for me in the moisture scale.
Okay, I'll give it 6.9 because it's nice.
Nice.
7.5.
Yeah. That is a position group that desperately needed help. And Patrick
Absolutely.
Peterson, as great as he is, potential Hall of Famer maybe, he is on the downside of his career, and they need help.
My guess is that I hope that the Cardinals offered him safety money, to play safety, and I hope that he turned it down.
Yeah.
To go play corner somewhere else.
Yeah.
Just to try to milk whatever is left, and then turn his Kareem Jackson card, his Charles Woodson card in, and then get one more Pro Bowl from a different secondary position. Love to see it. Yeah. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Colt, talk to me about this one. This is Mike Davis going from the Carolina Panthers to the Atlanta Falcons, running back, 24th rated running back per Pro Football Focus. Colt, how wet are you feeling?
I'm moistening up. I am. I was really wondering where or what the Falcons would do to address the running back position. I really think there's no way in hell they're going to re-sign Todd Gurley, even if it's to just a 1-year deal. I think Gurley is toast. The arthritis, hey, I've got it too, buddy. I get it. I wouldn't want to be out there.
Colt, how old are you?
47.
38.
And so you're relating your arthritis that you share with a 26-year-old man.
Exactly.
Who is in the best shape of his life.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah. But back to Mike Davis. I think, he was a stud for the first few games that McCaffrey was out. And I think we saw him wear down a little bit. He was also losing some touches to a rookie, I believe Trenton Cannon last year, and Reggie Bonifon. However, he's a great receiving running back. And I don't see how anyone else on this depth chart beats him out. Ito Smith, the real juror, Ito Smith, he's still there.
Yeah.
As
far as I know, yeah, I don't know if there's movement there, but
yeah, I think Brian Hill was a casualty, which he's just a guy anyways. All that to say, I don't think I can put this at above like a 6.8.
Yeah, that's still pretty aggressive for me.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Arthur Smith is going to find out real fast the Falcons don't have Derrick Henry. They don't have a quarterback as mobile as Ryan Tannehill. They do have the receiving threats in Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. But that offense, what it looked like in Tennessee last year that got Arthur Smith the job, is not going to look like that in Atlanta. Mike Davis is not Derrick Henry.
No.
He cannot be relied on like Derrick Henry can to carry it 25, 26, 30 times a game. Mike Davis does nothing for me. You say Mike Davis to me, and I think about the guy that used to set the pins at the U.S. Open for the USGA. He makes golf courses really hard. That's Mike Davis to me.
Okay.
That is unreasonably obscure, right?
He was the president of the USGA for a hot minute. An old white.
I hope that this captures some of the audience.
Yeah. I
hope it will.
3.2. The 3.2 for me.
Although I have to say 3.2 and the reference are both extraordinarily classy, and I appreciate it. I'm going to give it a 4.5 just because this has fantasy implications.
That's why mine was higher than.
Yeah, I figured. Let the record show. Colt is thinking with his fantasy mind as he should.
Sure. Yeah. He is the
because I can't think about the cornerbacks and stuff.
And
I don't play IDP.
That's why I put it on here. This one was for you, which is why I started with you, because this could have large fantasy implications.
Colt has a spare bedroom for his belts, his championship belt.
A little more obscure here, gentlemen, but this is Carl Lawson going from the hapless Cincinnati Bengals to the hapless New York Fighting Jets. And he was the 14th. Jets.
Go green.
Jets. He's an edge rusher and was 14th overall last year per Pro Football Focus in 2020.
The only bright spot in Cincinnati.
Especially on that defense,
yeah.
Actually, Jesse Bates was really, really good, but there's only so much you can do from a safety spot. But this guy can absolutely play.
He's good. I like what the Jets are doing, man. Carl Lawson's not the only thing they've done.
It feels weird to hear.
It does. Robert Saleh's going to love this dude. Probably for me, it's like a 6.3.
I'm going to give it an 8.5. Because of how good he is, how young he is, and how surprised I am that the Jets are making me need a towel underneath me.
Oh my goodness.
A towelette.
No, I'm talking like a beach towel, bud.
Well, at least, very least, like a hand towel.
I don't know.
Absorption.
I guess we have different 8.5s,
gentlemen. We need some absorption going on. You need that guy that got arrested for hiring hookers to give you a ShamWow.
Oh, was he the president of the USGA?
No. That's not. No. Mike Davis didn't need ShamWows. He was that guy with the weird eye that looked like he had a stroke because only one side of his mouth moved.
Oh, guy, you'll be saying wow every time?
That's the one, ShamWow.
Yeah.
Hookers.
I've heard a lot of rumors about that guy. Probably none substantiated, but everyone's got something to say about the
none
ShamWow
of them
guy.
savory either.
No, God, no. No, it wasn't like he spent his days helping old people cross the streets. It had nothing to do with that.
No, that's not ShamWow Vinny. That's not the ShamWow Vinny I know.
No.
Okay.
So we've got 6 point what, Ryan?
6.3.
So you're relatively moist.
Relatively moist, yeah.
I'm 8.
It's still the Jets, so that drives me up a little bit just right off the bat.
Colt?
I'm running a pretty racy 7.77 on this one.
That is very racy.
I like that.
Yes. The player he is, AJ mentioned he's very young too, and with Robert Saleh as the head coach, it's taken me to bordering an 8.
I like what Robert Saleh is going to be doing with
Me
his team.
Me too.
Yeah, he's edging Colt right now.
You could say.
Oh, I need to take a break. My only concern here is that this I hope this isn't an overreaction signing.
Yeah.
Where 1 year of production that you need to see sustained in order to satisfy a contract like this. And I hope this isn't.
A lot of people's problems with the Jets, they can't handle New York. They're really good elsewhere. They come to New York, they can't handle it. They go elsewhere after New York, and they're fine again. New York's a lot, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot to handle. A lot of media pressure, a lot of distractions. Can Robert Saleh keep his team focused? That's a big problem with New York.
I think he can. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking about it. Yeah, I agree.
I think so too.
10 times more than Adam Gase. Adam Gase just seemed aloof and just didn't seem to care. I don't know. That's the general vibe I got from Gase. Yeah. Like everybody's just fucking off in New York. He's like, oh, ho hum. Yeah.
Yeah. He Adam Gase reminds me of Todd Haley. He just plays a lot of golf.
You know him and Mike Davis are boys.
Oh yeah, he knows Mike Davis.
Okay, I don't even know why I put this in here. This is like this has got to be anywhere. This is like a 3.69, which is also nice.
Tevin Coleman out of anybody.
Indiana
Hoosier. His best years are behind him. I agree with AJ. This is down in the 3s.
Coming from San Francisco in that stable of backs in a running back room that I think went through like some sort of plague last year.
They hired the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers trainer is what happened.
That's a very versatile trainer. He knows how to injure players in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, he bounces around those West Coast teams.
Whole West Coast.
Yeah.
He didn't even play enough to be rated by Pro Football Focus.
No, well, he's healthy. He's fine. But I think he's past his prime.
I agree. I don't know if this changes much for me about what the Jets do in the draft, but Colt, what kind of fantasy implications? That's why I put it up here. What kind of fantasy implications do you see from this?
I'm envisioning none, really. I mean, off the top, I view this as kind of a depth play. I look for them to make a move in the draft. If not, I mean, maybe sign another free agent for depth and give LaMichael Pirine a legit shot. It's Tevin Coleman. I agree with Ryan. His best years are behind him. I'm in the Sahara here, man. I'm sitting. I'm like a 2.2.
Yeah, I like that. I like that scale right there.
Yeah, I'm chafing.
Comfortable with chafage here. Get the gold bond.
Yep.
Ryan, this one's not just for you. It's not just for us.
I was warned about this.
It's for the people. And Ryan, I want you to read this off as I do it.
100%. C.J. Beathard.
Yes.
Iowa great. Look at him in his Hawkeye black and gold.
Oh, yeah.
C.J. Beathard to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who needs Alex Smith, who's a veteran presence in your locker room to help groom a young quarterback? We have C.J. Beathard.
I was exceptionally proud of this one.
Des Moines.
You should be.
Des Moines is a rough town, folks.
C.J. Beathard to the Jacksonville Jaguars. As Ryan said, this has zero implications whatsoever.
Nope, not at all.
Nobody cares except us. CJ,
yep.
We love you.
Purely anecdotal.
If you start a cult, there's 3 phone numbers you need to reach out to first.
Yeah, this is a 9.6 for me.
Oh, this is an 11. I'm so excited for this.
Jeez.
I hope Trevor Lawrence holds out of his contract so we get some Beathard.
I'm splashing around over here.
Yeah. I just slipped and fell and hit a rock on the way down.
Oh, damn.
My knee is bleeding. I slipped so hard.
Do you see the versatility that of this man's mane?
Yeah. I mean, look at the photos that you put together. He's professional. Look at him. He knows how to talk to the media. He was a leader in college. Supermodel, good looks. Look at that.
Yep.
On the glamour shot.
He reminds me a little bit of the lead singer of Nickelback. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
A little bit.
He actually.
Look at the mustache. How can you not get behind a mustache with flow like that?
Do you think he sings like the singer of Nickelback? That would be
one
appalling.
Can only hope.
/ lovely.
Yeah. The songbird of our generation, C.J. Beathard.
All right, so let's at least touch on this. Holy fucking trade.
Holy fucking
trade. My God. If C.J. Beathard is an 11, this is a 35 out of 10. Yeah. Gentlemen, I can barely breathe over here.
I have been living in a general state of dampness since Friday at about 1:15 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, I need to go. I'm snorkeling right now.
Yeah, I had to shower multiple times. Multiple showers to do this. So what does this mean to you guys as far as what these teams are thinking? I have a general idea of what I think they're thinking and a general idea of where those picks are going to go.
So we just said holy fucking trade. And if you don't know what we're talking about, I don't know what to tell you, and I'm really not sure why you're listening.
Not the podcast for you.
Probably not. We're talking about the trade between the 49ers, the Dolphins, and the Eagles, who just threw picks everywhere.
It was amazing.
And,
it was very NBA-esque.
Extremely.
It was.
49ers made it out with one pick, a very high pick.
Yeah.
But they made it out with one pick, and that's the Miami Dolphins first rounder, the number 3 pick. The Dolphins got their 21 first rounder, the number 6 from the Eagles, a 21 fifth rounder, number 156 from the Eagles, 22 first rounder from the Niners, 22 third rounder from the Niners, and 23 first rounder from the Niners.
Damn.
Woo. The Eagles got the 21 first rounder from the Dolphins. That's number 12. The 21 fourth rounder from the Dolphins, number 123, and the 22nd first rounder from the Dolphins. Those were to the Eagles. That's a lot of shit.
Yeah.
6 first-round picks swapped around here.
But the 3 that are most important to talk about are the ones that are this year, and we'll touch on them more. But first impressions: the Niners have the number 3 pick now. The Dolphins have the number 6 pick, and the Eagles have the number 12 pick. Cole.
I mean, the Dolphins. I love all of this. By the way, this is amazing. The Dolphins are just cashing in yet again. They can afford to trade down, still get whoever they want because they have the luxury of doing so, and cashing in for years to come. The thing, I like it from the 49ers perspective, the aggression to go out and get their guy who we are believing is McCorkle Jones.
So excited for that.
Yes, I'm a
scratches
little
me right where I itch.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I can't wait to see him in a 49ers uniform. I can't wait to see him out of a 49ers uniform.
Oh, for goodness sake, yes.
Get me that first
please,
locker room pick.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm a little unsure of the Eagles' direction here, though. I don't know where they go with this pick. That's my only.
This clearly has to signal that Jalen Hurts is what they believe to be their answer, right?
Right.
Is what they are hoping to be their answer. Yeah.
There's not going to be anybody at 12. That's big time shit to be hoping Jalen Hurts is the answer. I think there is a straight up belief that he's the answer, unless they're drafting Kyle Falco.
I heard something today. Howie Roseman has never selected. He's had one Pro Bowler out of any of his draft picks that he's selected.
Right, he should have a job.
It's Carson Wentz in 2017. For me, that number 3 pick for the 49ers sold all in on a quarterback. They didn't even call the New York Jets to inquire about number 2, which makes them pretty confident. They know who the Jets are going to pick at number 2, and they are confident in who else is going to be left. Lawrence is going to go off the board first. The Jets are going to take Fields or Wilson. And then the 49ers are fine with the one that the Jets don't pick in Fields or Wilson or Trey Lance or our guy, McCorkle Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Which everything that I've been hearing today, that Colt's been hearing today, that AJ's been hearing over the weekend, we're going top 3 with McCorkle.
Yep. The drum beat gets louder.
That makes me look like my little friend here.
It's like the Asheville drum circle on a Friday night, if you've ever been.
My penis is pointing to the sky, gentlemen. To the clouds. But it also, what it looks like for the Dolphins at 6, you have to assume the Bengals are going to address offensive line at 5 and take Sewell. So the Dolphins at 6 are poised. If the Falcons don't get him at 4, and Kyle Pitts is right there for the Dolphins at 6.
Mm-hmm.
A premier pass catcher, a game changer, and if he stays healthy, a Hall of Famer in Kyle Pitts. The Eagles are satisfied with probably Patrick Surtain at 12 or J.C. Horn at 12. With the injury news with Caleb Farley having a second back surgery, who knows how far he's going to fall.
Right.
but it looks like they are going to be happy picking out of that secondary group, and potentially even Micah Parsons at 12.
Yeah, it could be Parsons. I think if Devontae Smith is available there, Jalen Waddle, they could even go that direction. So this is a sort of a teaser for the next mock draft we do. Quick thoughts, initial thoughts, and that's it. Penei Sewell, 4th to the Atlanta Falcons.
A shame for the Bengals.
Yeah.
Colt? Just initial,
that's tough.
initial, no breakdowns.
I like it for the Falcons.
Yours, sir?
I'm a believer.
Okay.
So no moisture levels needed, but if you want to share thoughts, feelings, and your level of wetness, feel free to. These are some of the other free agent signings. Got Nelson Aguilar to the Pats, Shaquille Griffin to the Jags, Marvin Jones to the Jags, William Jackson to the Washington football team, Michael Brockers to the Lions, Rodney Hudson to the Cardinals, Hassan Reddick to the Panthers, Ronald Darby to the Chargers, Dalvin Tomlinson to the Vikes, Trey Hendrickson to the Cincinnati Bengals, Gerald Everett to the Seahawks, Jared Cook to the Chargers, Kenyon Drake backing up Jacobs for the Raiders, Kyle Rudolph to the Giants, Shaq Lawson to the Dolphins, Desmond King to the Texans, Riley Reif to the Bengals, Janoris Jenkins to the Titans, Sheldon Rankins to the Jets, Mike Hilton from the Steelers to the Bengals, Troy Hill, as we were talking about earlier, to the Cleveland Browns, possibly opposite Denzel Ward, and then Denzel Perryman to the Carolina Panthers. So I want to highlight Troy Hill there because we talked about it a little earlier. This is doing a number on my nuthers right now.
Yeah.
You add in John Johnson and Troy Hill.
They may have themselves a secondary this year.
They may have themselves a secondary. You bring back Greedy Williams, you bring back Grant Delpit, throw some LSU in that secondary. It's worked for a lot of people.
Know how to win. Michael Brockers is like off the charts, making me wet right now.
That was a trade, and I'm very happy that the Lions did that. It means they care.
It means that Michael Brockers now has to be in the same locker room as the quarterback that he absolutely trashed when he was traded from the team he was previously on, the LA Rams. When Jared Goff went to the Lions, Brockers said he was doo-doo, said he stunk. Matthew Stafford was a huge upgrade. And then the Rams said, you're not gonna take the contract we offered? Okay, you're gonna go to the freaking Lions too. Have fun.
You're going
and
with
now
him.
He has to walk up to Jared Goff and be like, sorry.
Awkward moments.
To be a ringworm on the carpet of that locker room.
I would love that. That level of petty is just perfect for me.
It's delightful. Yep. That's what they refer to as comeuppance.
Yeah, that level of karma is right in my sweet spot.
So another one here. Anyone tingled about Gerald Everett going to the Seahawks?
No.
No, Cole. That does nothing for your fantasy feelers.
No, not so much, man.
Jared Cook does more for me to go to the Chargers than Gerald Everett to the Seahawks.
For sure.
That gets you going?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm revving a little bit here on
Jared Cook's a stud athlete, and you put him with Justin Herbert, who just set every rookie passing record on the books behind hopefully some semblance of an offensive line. And Jared Cook on the Chargers looks pretty damn good.
I agree with that. I love Double R to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Agreed.
Hopefully, maybe
and
just be
Trey
a placeholder.
Hendrickson.
Trey Hendrickson, another great one. It's a great point. Hassan Reddick.
Big acquisition.
Yeah, these
that was one
rushers.
of my favorites.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick, young player, former first-round pick out of Temple. Go Owls.
Yeah.
Finally made it work in Arizona, and they sent him packing. But they did grab Rodney Hudson to make Kyler Murray's life a little easier, which is always
a little bit, yeah.
Also, honorable mention Sheldon Rankins to the Jets. I like that.
And so last note about fantasy, Kenyon Drake to the Raiders. Thoughts, feelings, moisture levels?
Why? Moisture level is at a 0.9. I'm kind of I just think it's gonna fuck up Jacobs.
You can go negative.
Can we? I may very well. Let's go negative 0.09. Just a shade under. Just the petty shade under 0. My bad.
I like that.
Yeah, it just really muddies the waters here because they gave him a pretty good contract. I don't think it's full on starter money, but it's enough. He's going to get touches in the offense. And
what is John Gruden doing?
Exactly. So they still have Jalen Richard.
Doing? Good God.
Yeah.
Right. So they have Josh Jacobs, who's proven to get pretty dinged up. I think he's a great player. Kenyon Drake, Jalen Richard. Who else is there? Oh,
the team gives me rashes.
Right. And they re-signed Theo Riddick, but they gave all their offensive linemen away in trades and whatnot. I'm very perplexed.
They brought Richie Incognito's toxic ass back too.
Oh,
Turn his life around.
Boy,
he's got a tattoo about it.
What a treasure.
From a fantasy perspective, I'm not thrilled about this at all. This is a bit of a downer.
This is Dud City. The last one I'm going to highlight is Dalvin Tomlinson to the Vikings. If this works out, they might return to a semblance of fantasy decency. Importance and just overall decency.
Yep.
Ryan has a story.
I do have a story.
Ryan?
Yeah, so story time with Ryan. I almost pulled my dick out at a Best Buy today. I was in my car and I wore some long underwear to work this morning because it was on the nippy side, low 50s.
Oh, so you had stuff over top of the long underwear?
Yeah. Well, you don't wear long underwear on the outside.
Isn't that what leggings are?
Oh, yeah. They were man leggings.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had them on underneath my regular pants.
His Spanx were in the wash.
Yeah. My Spanx were. I was trying to keep my slender girlish figure for the consumers. But I was getting a little toasty, getting a little warm. So I was gonna, just take the outer layer off, slip off the leggings there, put the outer layer back on, and mosey on inside the store. About that, not an underwear guy. Just not.
Just in general?
In general. Currently not wearing underwear.
Good for you. I support that. I'm not either.
Don't have underwear in any of my drawers.
What?
Oh, wow.
Don't own a pair of underwear.
Are you kidding?
No.
Shocking.
I just don't do it. Don't believe in it.
Okay.
Not going to do it.
It might be a waste of money then. I don't know.
It is for me.
Go on.
But to do so, I would be in a busy Best Buy parking lot with my dick out. And then I remembered something. Best Buy has bathrooms.
Oh, there it is.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of potentially getting arrested on the clock for public indecency, I decided to disrobe in the friendly sanitary confines of a Best Buy pooping stall.
Very graceful.
Is that a one-person bathroom or is this multi?
Oh, these are multi-seaters.
Okay.
But like I've got my work backpack with me. It's not like I was just, walking around the store with my long undies hanging out. So I
you
could
brought
disrobe.
your backpack.
Yeah, of course.
You had a timer around your waist.
Oh, I wish I'd done that. But I took my backpack in with me. I checked in with the managers, and that's my job these days. And then went and took my underwear off.
first of all, fabulous story. Second of all, do your long underwear, leggings, man spanks have a hole for your pee to come
They
through?
do.
Okay,
They do.
so
They've got an escape
here's
hatch.
what you can do. Yeah, you take that escape hatch, you put it over your head, then you put
Wear it like a cape.
you put your little hands through
Yeah.
the leg holes, and you pull it down.
Yeah.
And then you've got arm warmers.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Nice.
And you can switch back if your legs get cold.
Yeah. It's just running the cycle between arms and legs and making a steady path to and from the bathroom.
That's right. And the more you swap them, the more body warmth that you gain from all your movement.
Yeah, it's a net gain.
And what kind of texture are we talking about? Is this just classic thermal, or is this some fancy Under Armour type stuff?
These are Under Armour type situations.
Okay.
You don't want to stretch those then.
No.
Are you telling me your Under Armour tights have an escape hatch for your wee-wee?
They do.
Is that
it doesn't fit over my head?
Is that a new thing? It doesn't.
No. I mean, they're not really new to me. I've had them since last fall.
My Under Armour did not have an escape hatch from a noodle.
So you had to disrobe completely to handle business.
Bud, yeah, absolutely.
There were no urinals for you.
No. I mean, I would have been better off with a catheter.
No, I just get right in there, whip it out, take care of my business, move along with my day. But I figured it would not be appropriate of me to pull my dick out in the Best Buy parking lot when there was a viable option. It's my number one rule, is don't pull your penis out unless absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm. And you have a hatchback now, correct?
I do.
Yeah. See, if you would have gotten a sedan like Colt and I, you could hop in the trunk, do your shimmy, and then pop right out. But you got viewing windows everywhere, like a change room aquarium.
Oh yeah. Everybody can see. The soccer moms in the Odyssey next to me would not have been happy.
Oh no.
Quite an Odyssey.
Yep. Yeah. I'll show them an Odyssey. Enough about me pulling my penis out in public. Up next, an interview with Phil of the UK's finest football podcast. It's called the Next Man Up podcast. He's wonderful.
This is why I was hooked to the podcast, because I love this.
Okay. Gentlemen, the hat is on. Welcome back to the Shall We Football Podcast. I'm AJ, and with me is Ryan, and with us is Phil. It's Phil of the Next Man Up podcast. This is an even classier interview. Sorry, Paul. Shall We Football Podcast, Season 2, Episode 8. Phil, tell us about yourself.
Okay, yeah. So I am in the Royal Navy, and I'm at petty officer rank. So a big part of my life is the military at the moment. I spend a lot of time away, and a large part of that period spent away was going over to the United States back in 2018 and desperately trying to catch an NFL game. I wasn't really fussed who I ended up supporting. So right now I could be sat here, not a Philadelphia Eagles fan, but a fan of any other team. But the only team that was actually at home and within reach of a port visit on my tour of the United States was Philly, being 2 hours up the road from Baltimore. And I managed to catch a game 3 years ago, and I've been absolutely hooked ever since. So in the last 2 years, I've been sort of escalating my my knowledge and my fandom. The last 2 seasons are the only seasons that I've actually really been invested in every game. I've bought Game Pass. I've painted my office green, which you can't see because it's on the other wall, but I promise you it is Eagles green, or as close to that as I could find down the DIY store. And I do have to take my hat off briefly to Paul and say that he is probably the reason it's escalated as much as it has, because he's brought me into the Pick Six WhatsApp group, and it's brought a lot of UK NFL fans together, and the group's taken on a life of its own. It's become self-aware, as I like to call it. It's no longer a Pick Six podcast group. It's a UK NFL fans group, and we just post all sorts of stuff. And when the season starts, obviously the banter really begins. So got part of that group, and it's kind of escalated from there. And then it's put me in touch with a few more Eagles fans, which we decided, hey, everyone else is doing a podcast, why can't we? So 3 of us, me, Mick, and Liam, decided to create Next Man Up halfway through last season, which was a really poor idea considering we only won 1 game in the second half of last season. So we had one pod where we could talk about a win, which I suppose is a good thing in a way, because when we eventually do start winning, however long that takes, we might actually be more experienced and not be just used to all the finer things. I'm also a fan of Manchester United Football Club. I know a lot of people in the UK won't be too happy with that. I know Man United are probably one of the more popular teams in the United States, along with Liverpool and Manchester City. I think they're the sort of next two from the UK, because I know they all go over there quite a lot now and spend a lot of pre-season games over there. So there might be a few fans listening to this pod. That's kind of a brief history of me. Is there anything else you want to know, guys?
You notice that the Philadelphia Eagles is really small there.
I'll
I'm not
get
sure.
to that. I'll get to it. Okay,
I'm
would you
intentional.
relax? Would you relax?
Sorry, I get excited.
So, Phil, football Sundays are what life's all about. These are facts. Thank you for your service and for following Manchester United. That is way over my head. Also, I don't know what you did to whatever religion and God you pray to that led you to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm very sorry to hear that. But enough of that. He has a Twitter. There's his Twitter. The links will be all over the YouTube and the descriptions. And you told us a little bit about why the NFL. But why the NFL as opposed to everything else?
Are you referring to other sports in the United States?
Right. Baseball is America's pastime.
Yeah.
There are a fair amount of options. Why the NFL?
The answer to that is I don't know. Same reason I live nowhere near Manchester, and that's a big deal in the UK, because you should always come from where you support, and I get that. I support it because of my dad. But I couldn't imagine supporting anybody else. I'm hooked to them. They're my team. I'm quite a loyal guy in that regards.
Well, Phil, I would love to also eventually speak to one of your co-hosts, because I am a Notre Dame fan via blood as well, and I think we can continue this little exchange of humans that we have going. I think that'd be delightful. So you are into the NFL and you fell into the Philadelphia Eagles.
It's a tough life, bud. That is a tough life.
Real tough life. Real tough life. We will get to that, but a real tough life, Phil.
Big fan
but
of
like I
Jalen
said,
Hurts.
it was the only team that was at home. So
Yeah.
it is literally logistically, it was the only possible team. So you can call that fate.
Serendipity.
But going
Thick
back to
and
your
thin,
question,
Phil. Thick and thin, man.
yeah,
fate is
I
a
kind of
cruel mistress.
I like the fact that it's not a popular team, because I've supported Man United all of my life, and they are the most popular team. They've been the most successful team, so they're a bit like the New England Patriots in terms of that regard. So I'm quite not happy, but it's a change of dynamic. But
It's nice to fall back on.
yeah. But going back to why the NFL, I've actually the basketball is the only one I've not been to in the States. I was in California a few years previous, but in the desert with the Royal Marines, and we managed to get a weekend away to San Diego. So I caught a Padres game, which was okay, but I just can't get into baseball. It's probably the same for cricket for you guys. There's just something about it. You either love it or you don't, and if you don't, you're just not going to get into it. I also managed to catch an East Coast Hockey League game in Jacksonville, because the Jaguars obviously weren't at home, like I've said.
What is that hockey team down there? They're the Blades or something like
Iceman.
that, right? Iceman. Oh, they used to be in Evansville, Indiana, where I worked for 6 years.
There's a Jacksonville hockey team called the Icemen?
Yeah, they used to be the Evansville Icemen. They're owned, what was their owner's name? He's from Owensboro, Kentucky. He's kind of a jerk. But yeah, they moved to Jacksonville from Evansville. I covered the Icemen when they were in Indiana.
So yeah, the only one that I want to catch, and I think I'm not that bothered about catching a basketball game, but I feel like I've got to complete the eternal ring of popular NFL American sports sports in terms of the ones that you hear about the most. I know there are other sports like lacrosse and stuff, but I just
May
know
I
that they're
suggest going to a college basketball game
That's the one.
to be honest,
instead of an
I'm not
NBA
fussy.
game?
I mean,
Go to a college basketball game.
We are in the mecca of college basketball here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Here, the Triangle, which is Chapel Hill, UNC, Michael Jordan, NC State, and then Duke. We are within 30 minutes. Ryan is over at Durham, where Duke is, and I mean,
I have to go inside because I'm about to get dumped on. You guys continue. Sorry.
gross. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross.
I'm not fussy, to be honest. I think I am a sort of a sports fan. So if I go somewhere, I'm happy to go into a stadium and watch live sport.
I will tell you this: like the way you got into Eagles football, it's sort of a trail that led you there, and a bunch of exciting stuff, cool stuff led you there. I'll tell you, I've seen so many people turned off to various sports, and we talk football and only football here, except for right now. Just whatever.
We're making an exception for you.
We're making an exception for Phil.
I appreciate
it. Going to, I would not want someone to go to their first college football game at the University of Duke. That's not how you get in. I mean, you might. I mean, if you have an appreciation for sports, maybe it might turn out well for you. But if you want to go, hit one of the blue bloods. If you have the capacity to do so, hit a blue blood.
You're not going to get there from the Royal Navy, but if you get a chance to go to your current starting quarterback, his alma mater, go to one of their home games. You'll be hooked on college football.
And I'll give you 3 guesses where Ryan was employed when he worked in television. If you know where Jalen Hurts went to school.
Right. So
choice A is Oklahoma. Choice B is Oklahoma, and choice C is everything that's not Oklahoma.
Can I ask a friend?
These all would apply, yeah. But I got a chance to cover Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield, and it was a special time to be employed in Oklahoma.
All right, Phil, tell us a little bit about the Next Man Up podcast and why the hell we should be listening to it. Give us some stuff, man. We've got all your info up here. We got the website. I said, holy shit, they have a website. Got a Twitter where, again, we're going to put all the descriptions, all the stuff in the description on the YouTubes and on the Twitters and all that jazz. But tell us, outside of having sweet, awesome accents that we could only dream of replicating, why?
Listen to you talk all day.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. I think that may be why we thought it would be a funny idea, would be to recreate the old joke, an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman walk into a pub. But no, we were part of a WhatsApp group, as I've mentioned previously. We're a group of NFL fans, and I think you kind of clump together with your fellow brethren, and I put it out there as a joke, and then I think it got launched on by a couple of guys who were like, yeah, let's just do it. Let's just, what's the worst that's going to happen? So I think within about an hour of me saying that, we'd come up with a name. Liam had created a Twitter page. We'd done all sorts of stuff. And it was almost like we'd been doing it for ages. And then we were like, when are we going to do it? And we did a tester pod. And then we got into it, and we did our first proper pod just before the Giants game, and we got absolutely humiliated. But yeah, so we decided to create that together. We've got T-shirts as well, as you can see. And
yes. Oh, you're an inspiration, Phil.
We may need to get some of those T-shirts, AJ.
We do. We do. We will wear them on the podcast, Phil. I swear to God.
This is more literally because I was playing soccer earlier this evening, and I literally come back, got showered, and this is the first T-shirt I grabbed out, and I thought, I love it. So I don't normally dress up for you guys. But yeah, so we created that, and we were just doing it like you guys for fun, and mainly just to like 3 guys sat around talking about Eagles, and then you record it. So that's literally there's not really much else in it, and like you said, we got a web page. It's a WordPress site where we
that's plenty, man. That's awesome. I listened to a little bit. I love the juxtaposition of having folks from one island and different places that are as different as the different states as me being from. I'm actually from Pennsylvania, so I'm from Pittsburgh. That is not where the hatred for the American Eagles fan base comes from, but we will get to that, Phil. Okay, we will get to that.
He doesn't use words like juxtaposition in our podcast. He's just trying to impress you.
I'm not even sure what it means. if I'm being frank with you guys. So listen to the Next Man Up podcast. You can find them on all the places you find podcasts. If I'm correct, Spotify, Apple, Google, stuff like that. And the Fantasy Football Charity League. So Phil, tell me about this a little bit briefly. We are now into this, and I think it's fucking fabulous.
Yeah, it was. I've not done any fantasy football. Like I said, I'm only into this a couple of years. This is the first year I'm going to be attempting fantasy football. I got lured into it by Paul,
That's how it happens.
the eternal leader of the WhatsApp group. I supplied him with some money, and now I'm in a few leagues with him. I remember him mentioning about a charity league, and I asked him about it. I said, like, is it a popular thing? Is it a new idea or anything like that? He said, it's some people do it, but it's not really well known. I said, well, since we've started all pods, I think how great would it be to try and, for me, Liam and Mick, to try and draft a team and run a team together? How fun would that be? And then I was thinking, I don't really want to do it for money, A, because we're no good, or I'm no good. So I don't want to lose any of my money to
Neither
someone
are
else.
Ryan and I. Colt carries us.
Colt's going to run our team for sure.
Yeah, he's a ringer.
That's fine. I'm definitely not going to be running our team. But sorry, I can't. Yeah, so I won't be running the team, but I'll be part of it, and I can't say that I'll be any good. So it was more, hey, if we're going to put money into this to get people involved and take it seriously, let's donate it to charity, because it brings a whole sort of softness to the competitiveness. People are doing it for a good reason. And I thought we could all nominate a charity, compete for that. And at the end of the day, 3 of them will get some money. It's not really about the money. I say that's like priority 3. Priority 1 is just to have 12 charities and get the word out there. So I'll be trying to publicize them as much as possible, just so that people are aware, just so there's posts on Twitter or wherever with their tags and names in it, just so people go, oh, they're doing that. That's a nice thing. So it just puts it in people's mind. Second is to have a bit of fun and maybe win some money towards it. And then priority 3 is to actually just be competitive and try and win it, because I don't think anybody who wins it is going to feel like they've done anything other than raise some money for a good cause. And it's brought 12 good causes together, 12 good pods broadcast together. It seems a bit of fun already, trying to differentiate between people and use the Cheltenham Gold Cup horse race as a way of trying to decide the draft order, which isn't without its faults. But yeah, so it started with that, and my charity, the Ectopic Pregnancy Trust, wasn't necessarily the one that was going to be chosen for us. It was one of 3 random ones that got selected. Fortunately for me, or fortunately for the Ectopic Pregnancy Trust, hopefully they're the ones that got selected. But that's a cause that's very close to mine and my wife's heart. We suffered one about 4 or 5 years ago, so I didn't really know much about it. So I run a half marathon for them, and like I said, I'm not doing it to raise money for them, because I don't want to put pressure on myself to try and win it. I don't want to take the fun out of it. It's supposed to be a bit of fun, and hey, if we end up getting lucky and win, maybe we can win £300 for them and send that to them, or 100 or £200. But yeah, sorry, I know I said
no, it's
that's excellent, man. And how much is that in American money? We don't know that.
Well, I think the exchange rate is a bit better nowadays, so I think it's probably £300, probably about close to $400, I'd say.
I'm all for it. Whenever you tweeted that, I retweeted immediately. I thought that was fantastic. And you have me thinking about what we can do between the 3 of us in our local area, and try to give back that way, and make it about giving back. Because I mean, this whole thing that we do, I think it's really cool that we can connect with folks over in the UK, and potentially, I didn't think there was NFL fans in the UK. Maybe there's some even further than that. Who knows?
I thought those
love to
London
even further
games were pointless, and I'm so glad that we've met you
Yeah.
and Paul to
Paul said he
prove that
loved
Roger
them.
Goodell has done something correctly.
Oh yeah, I've not been to one of the London games yet. I was gonna go the year before last, but then I ended up managing to get the wife to go to America, and we went to a real game. Not that they're not real games, but obviously going to one in the heart of Philadelphia. It's
Take
gonna
that,
trump
Roger
going to
Goodell, you idiot.
But I do want to go to, because I know, as Paul mentioned in the previous pod, it's more of a celebration of the sport, and it's a culmination of fans, like a bit like the WhatsApp group, but in physical form. People, like, there's not enough hatred to cause any problems, but there's banter, there's rivalry, and there's just a littered, colourful array of shirts in each stadium. The majority will be the fans of the teams that are playing, but essentially it's just an excuse for us all to get together, get drunk, and watch an NFL game without having to spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds to fly to the States and hopefully catch a game.
That's what Paul said. That's exactly what Paul said.
He's got me rehearsing some lines.
All right, perfect. Phil, I need answers. Phil. Phil, the Philadelphia Phillies fans in a country that you're not from, egged my car after they won the World Series in 2009, 19? I believe it was. No, 2009.
Oh, way before then.
Yeah, and I was very upset. It was my white Jeep Liberty. The car and I had been through a lot, and I was very upset. I was 3 miles away from campus and still got egged. Phil, why did you do that?
What, me personally? I'm responsible. Okay.
It's not even the right sport.
This is how petty we are, Phil.
I was in Italy a long time ago, the year that they won the World Cup, and I saw similar experience with, you just see a country, a group of people go absolutely nuts and show passion. And I think it's sad for your car, and I'm sorry that happened to your car, but I believe that you should just accept that when a large group of people have that kind of success, and you know how much it means to them, and you know what you do when you've had a few beers, and the best thing that happens to you outside of a birth of a child or a wedding, you're just going to go nuts, and often there's collateral damage. This is why I live in a very rural area. There isn't nobody running past my car, no matter how good Manchester United do, or Bristol City, or any of the sports teams in the UK. I'm not going to do that. I think I'm aware of the reputation, and I can't really comment because I've experienced a little bit of it being to 2 games, but you see that in any stadium.
I hope that when you do make it to more Phillies games and you become further involved, that you sell out 100% to being the shittiest, worst behaved Eagles fan that exists on planet Earth. This I hope for you. I hope that you go full balls in, and you see the gentleman in the middle top photograph there. If you don't have any Phillies or Eagles or Philadelphia tattoos, I would suggest getting one and fully immersing yourself in the culture, my friend.
If they do win the Super Bowl within your fanhood, you are required by law in Philadelphia to grease any pole taller than 10 feet near your home, so it is unable to be climbed.
At the moment, there's a 7-foot flag attached to the nearest lamppost, because I live in a new estate which has still got the signs advertising the new home, so it's got the company, so there's no chance of me greasing that and sliding down it. So you're safe for the time being.
Oh man, well, I mean, it could be good practice at the very least.
Painful, I imagine.
Yeah, I imagine painful. If you look at a couple of these other pictures, losing that much popcorn would be very painful for me. Also, being on fire would suck as well. In the bottom left there, bottom right.
If you do get Mick on, ask him about the passion of the Glasgow Derby, and I guarantee you'll get an idea of what the comparison to Philadelphia.
Paul called it tribal. Phil, is that the best way to describe it?
Well, like I said earlier, in the UK, it's very much you support the team where you're from, and if you don't, you're either a glorious supporter or a weirdo. Because if you're not following a team nowhere near you because they're successful, then what the hell are you doing? But most people support local teams and bigger teams as well, because the bigger teams it's like the NFL and the college game. Everyone has a college team that's probably more close to the heart than the NFL team. But yeah, it's very tribal. You go to games like in England rugby, fans can sit side by side and it's no big deal. In soccer, they're segregated with police and everything. Some games, some rivalries are worse than others, and everyone has a derby or an intense rivalry. So for Manchester United, it's Liverpool, and there's some quite intense aggression between fans and the players alike over the years. So tribal is exactly the word to describe it. It's your team, it's your tribe, it's your world. So I imagine you guys have seen Green Street. And although I hate to give that film airtime because it's cheesy as hell, because obviously it's an Americanized version, it's probably the easiest way to explain how tribal English soccer fans can be when they really don't like each other. It supersedes, like they have groups called ultras. Most teams have it, and it'd be a specific group of people that are not they're fans and they're diehard fans, but it's about the fighting, and they turn up on match day to have fights or to greet other fans, and it's more of a violent thing. And that's the side of football that soccer over here that most people they ignore. It happens though, and I think there was one year where the Manchester City bus was on its way to Liverpool and it got firebombed and all sorts. It can be quite bad.
That.
Yeah, it was quite big news. It was only about 2 years ago, I think. And
yeah, I think I do remember that.
Yeah, stuff like that does happen, but people, English football had a lot of hooliganism in the 90s and the 80s, and it's died down a little bit, maybe because they've managed to sweep it under the carpet. It's still there, but it's tribal is exactly the right word to describe it.
One time, Phil, when I went to a Notre Dame Penn State game at Penn State, I peed in a place on campus I wasn't supposed to. I thought that was pretty hardcore. And then a year later, I enrolled at Penn State, so I peed on my stool.
So I'm going to adopt the phrase "glory supporter" and try and replace bandwagon over here in America, because I like glory supporter a lot better.
Yeah, side note, I love that. Phil, what do you think about the Washington football team becoming, A, adopting that, which I love, but B, maybe moving to the Washington Football Club? I asked Paul the same question.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. When I was listening to your last pod, I hadn't seen anything about that myself, so I'm hearing it for or I'm reacting for the first time. I personally, I mean, if you're talking of like it's our word, you can't have it, I'm really not that bothered. When they got renamed, I
was hoping you'd be a little more territorial about
it. To be honest, it's a joke of a club anyway, so I don't need to hammer in that point too much.
Howie Roseman is somehow still greater than Dan Snyder.
Oh my God, that was brilliant.
How contrite were you when you said that? But yeah, no, the Washington football team, I remember laughing. I remember showing the wife, like, she cares nothing about the NFL. And I even showed her, I said, look, this team that had a racist name has now just like gone completely the opposite direction and gone so mediocre and bland that it's almost hilarious.
Yeah, they remind me of saltless saltine crackers.
Football team or football club, it's the same thing. It's just two different terminologies, and if they change it to that, that would make me laugh again, because it's like we've thought long and hard about this, boys. We spent the season sort of got painstakingly going over this. Let's
paid a lot of people money
to club, and somehow people expect people to kind of
it's genius. It's genius,
big time. That is the division in which you go 8-8 and make the playoffs. So it's
the facts.
It is acceptably mediocre.
Not anymore. So tell us about the next generation of Sky Chickens here, Phil. We've got Andrew Adams and Anthony Harris roaming the back.
Elite.
Joe Flacco. I hesitated to put the letters QB after that, because I don't think he'll be holding clipboards or
Clipboard is
shining
too
shoes
long
or
to
whatever.
fit in that space.
And the 12th pick. So I absolutely love what they've done for the secondary. Anthony Harris is phenomenal when
Very
he's
good.
on point. Andrew Adams is fine. I know they lost Jalen Mills, but we're talking about the next gen here. So from an Eagles perspective, what's up?
Well, the two safeties that we've brought in, I'm glad they've done that. My like I said, my knowledge is quite small, and in terms of knowing much about the guys, I've done what I can in the short space of time since they've signed to sort of research them. And I know obviously Harris has come from Minnesota.
Yep.
And sorry, it wasn't because I didn't know. I just generally went blank for a second.
You're
I do that all the time. I live in a
Yeah.
blank space 95% of the time.
As I say, I'm very comfortable there.
Yeah.
I know he had a really good 2019 season. A lot of people, and the big question is, he didn't have such a great 2020. Can he rediscover 2019? I know he's also worked with the defensive coordinator that we've now brought in.
Yep.
So I think the general gist I've got from that is hopefully he can rediscover form with, going back to some familiarity, which I'm aware of the irony with Carson Wentz, before you say. I know we can touch on that later. But
we can talk all about Carson.
I can see why they brought in a couple of safeties to replace the two safeties that left in free agency, Rudy Ford and Jalen Mills, who were very much the previous defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz's guys, and whether they've got rid of them because they don't fit the scheme or whether they're just on the way out. But the fact that Jalen Mills got paid that amount of money is beyond me. So fair play to the boy. He's gone and he's got paid somewhere else, and hopefully it won't work for him there, because it'll be the Patriots if it does.
Anthony Harris is going to slit throats. You are going to absolutely love this guy. He played a lot of his career next to Harrison Smith, who's a Golden Domer. Love Harrison Smith. But by the numbers, Pro Football Focus, Anthony Harris 2 years ago was top 3 per their rating scale. Also, everyone had a pretty shitty 2020, so I'm not putting all that much stock in it. I think he can still come back strong. And I think him, without adding, I think he makes Darius Slay better. I think he makes that entire defense better.
I think
secondary is where they needed the most help anyway.
Yeah, and I think they brought them in as stopgaps for next season, whether they target the safety position in the draft hard, or whether they just get a couple of guys that hopefully hit later on. Obviously, nobody knows what's going to happen there, but I'm happy they brought them in, because they're high upside. If they work out, they can get new contracts and they maybe stick around for a little bit longer, or they're just temporary stopgaps to get us through the season as unscathed as possible. As for the third guy, Joe Flatline, as you described it in the previous pod, which I thought was the worst
Love that guy.
misappropriation of someone's name I've ever heard in my life. But you guys probably know a lot more about him, and hence I'm sure the nickname's warranted from your point of view.
Yep, that's all you need to know. You're good.
Yeah. As for him, I think I'm happy with that, because I didn't want anyone to come in that was a serious risk to Jalen Hurts for this season. Like, the season is very much a suck it and see, as I like to say. Like, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, Hurts will be going. Flacco won't be here probably either. It's more of just we need someone to come in, because you can't not have a backup. Hurts was the only person on the roster at that position up until Flacco signed. And from what I'm aware, he's a Super Bowl winner. I know it was a little while ago, and I know he didn't have much success being a backup for the Jets last season, but we don't want another Foles. Deep down, I don't want another Foles, because you just want someone who's going to come in. If Hurts goes down significantly, we're not interested in surviving. That's the season going, but you have to have a backup. So I feel that Flacco's a backup for backup's sake, who has experience. He's not the same experience that we had under McCowan, sorry. But he's obviously gone. He's gone down to Houston. So we needed someone who's going to come in with the experience and be that safety net who's obviously no threat. I'm not saying he's not going to come in and do really well and it cause another quarterback controversy, but
maybe the greatest drawer of pass interference penalties in the history of the NFL.
Oh, good to know.
Phil, we were also very much hoping that whoever they brought in was not a threat to Jalen Hurts, because that would have likely been a quarterback in the first round. And we, along with another fellow football Twitterverser, committed to chugging 12-ounce bottles of maple syrup if the Eagles selected a quarterback with their first-round pick. Thank God that they've traded. We are now out of that, and I can finally unpin that tweet. But in solidarity with Ryan's beloved Jalen Hurts, who by all accounts is an amazing human being, by the way.
Strong human, yeah.
Just an awesome dude by what I've read and what Ryan has said. But yeah, we also were hoping to not chug 36 fluid ounces of like high quality, expensive maple syrup, which we had agreed to. I agreed to, and then everyone else was implicated.
I was out when I was out in California with the Royal Marines in the middle of the desert. That was my first real experience of American food, and obviously heavy on the maple syrup. So like in the UK, you get your table laid out, and you'll have your tomato sauce, your ketchup, your brown sauces we have over here, and your salt and pepper at your breakfast table. When I was out in these mess halls in America, it was just 15. I think it was like 15% maple syrup.
Yep,
it was like maple syrup with only 15% in it, so God knows what else was in it. Because I know you got your guys' laws on what chemicals can be put in food is quite a little bit more lax than what we've got.
We just throw whatever we find in there. Is my understanding.
If it's edible, we're gonna eat it.
Yeah.
The thing with the Royal Marines is that they are not afraid of dares, and there was endless bottles of questionable maple syrup being chugged. So that kind of screwed up my face a little bit when you were talking about having to down a Leo, because I've seen some maple syrup come back up again quite a lot. So not interested.
Oh, no. To be sure, Phil, we were going to fill it with 75% Diet Coke to be 100% sure.
Yeah, to make the coloring correct and still get that consistency.
Consistency, exactly.
I can hammer some Diet Coke. Maple syrup is a totally different situation.
Hey, Phil, which team's off seasons make you most moist? Cue the analogies. Ryan, go. So you're sitting in a baby pool filled of water, that moist. Yeah. Who's getting you there, Phil?
We're not talking about British climate moist. We're talking about undergarments moist.
We're talking Everglades, Phil.
Yeah.
It's one of those words in it that
it's gross, isn't it?
It's the worst word.
Makes you shudder.
Focus on the dog, Phil.
I'm trying not to, because that's off-putting as well. The team that's I think no, I can't say that. I can't.
Okay, for those who are listening, I continue to do this. For those listening, there is a picture of a very moist and sad-looking dog on the screen right now to inspire Phil. Phil, go ahead.
The only one that springs to mind initially, and I said I wouldn't say it, but I think I'm really kind of intrigued by what the Patriots have done in the off season, because it's got so many different parts going for it. It's got the Bill Belichick jilted ex-lover vibe to it. It's got the try and get back to former glories in an instant. It's got high risk. It's got a lot of high reward, and I think if it's successful, it's entertaining because Bill Belichick is the guy again. He's successfully turned a team that had gone down the toilet into a winning team just like that. If it doesn't, it's hilarious because the Patriots have wasted so much cap and it just doesn't work.
Both are entertaining. Both are incredibly entertaining.
That I'm sloshing over here.
Yeah.
I'm sloshing over here.
And damp.
Absolutely. Question, Phil, who is the most beautiful and beautifully named NFL quarterback prospect? And I'll add this of the past 25 years, past quarter of a century. There is a correct answer, Phil. There's one answer to this question.
Most beautiful and beautifully named. So
the most physically impressive, and I guess to be fair, this is somewhat
very tongue-in-cheek.
Very tongue-in-cheek. But the name also, that's tongue-in-cheek too. This is all just rooted in deep sarcasm. So keep that in mind.
I'm coming up with nothing. I feel very like I'm trying to fall into the trap, but I'm also trying not to say something completely off.
Let's go at it this way. Are you aware of the Alabama quarterback's God-given birth certificate name?
No, I don't believe I am.
Allow us to enlighten you.
Look at that.
He goes by Mac Jones. That is, however, is not his name, Phil.
Yes, no, I now am familiar with the situation.
Look at that
I've seen
body.
the pictures, and I'm aware of the talk around him going up the draft. At least lately, and
Yeah, so the
it's
number
not-
3 overall pick in the
Potential-
2021 NFL
potentially.
draft. It's not potential
with the
anymore.
Niners.
In my heart, it's real.
It is real, and that's what it looks like. And I couldn't be happier. And that's how it's exactly what it looks like.
It's
His
the
name
cigar
is
that
truly
does it.
McCorkle.
He's a dude. That's a dude. That's a guy.
If you take a picture with your shirt off with a cigar in, that's instant God status.
That's what you see at Myrtle Beach in South Carolina.
He's I haven't.
Stunning.
I've tried to catch some of the pro day footage. I watch Good Morning Football most afternoons
Yeah,
over here. Just because
that's convenient for you, I guess. For us, it's too early.
Well, yeah. I mean, it'd be nice if it was on at 8 o'clock in the morning when I start my work, because I'm most alert and I'm most able to take in the info when I'm sat in my garden with my laptop on and my iPad next to me with Good Morning Football on the afternoons. I'm kind of just sunning myself, just occasionally hearing some terrible joke by the 4 of them. It's
Yeah, we relate to that.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Give us your thoughts on what you think of the quarterbacks in this draft, and we'll see how much we mesh.
Well,
we're talking Trey Lance, we're talking Mac Jones, Justin Fields. You can pretty much eliminate Trevor Lawrence, and then Zach Wilson. So those 4 guys.
Well, I was going to talk about Trevor Lawrence briefly because
Please do.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. Only
I love talking about Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean he's great.
Only because like my knowledge of the college game is really, really small. And I kind of, for obviously the last 2 years, so Joe Burrow last year and then Trevor Lawrence this year, it's like nailed on, locked in. Doesn't matter what the guy does.
Yeah.
He's going first overall, and I'm like, I don't get it, because my ability to watch tape and go, I can see why he's the number 1 pick isn't there. I'm looking at this guy going, I don't get it. I'm still trying to work out why a guy with that hair is sitting there, and unless a picture comes out with him sort of like at the back end of a donkey or something, I swear he's going to go number 1 no matter what he does, and I don't understand why. And then everyone behind him is like shuffling around. So I'm like, why is T-Law not shuffling around? Why is his position not under threat? So I'm almost intrigued. Maybe you guys can tell me why it's like ironclad. Like there's nothing that can change that.
I'll let AJ go first.
Well, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and we couldn't stop him. We had 3 chances at it. The one time he had to get COVID for us to stop him.
Yep.
The other 2 times there was just no chance. First of all, like he's a prototype, which he's 6'6", he's well built, he's 220. That was college weight listed.
Yeah.
So he's
They'll
probably
put 10, 15 pounds on him.
Probably way above that. He can move. He's tall enough to see everything, and he at least to the untrained or even trained eye, it's pretty apparent that he can't. Not only can he, but he does survey the field. And it's that kind of stuff you kind of get into specifics about reads and stuff, which you need to be able to see the entire field from behind the quarterback in order to break down that kind of film. But so on physical characteristics alone, he's a 1st round draft pick almost. But then with what he's done at that high level of college, it's kind of like a perfect storm that Andrew Luck was probably the last one to to portray all of these desired traits of productivity, physical characteristics, and then intangibles. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I'm a big eye test guy. So if you watch a guy like Trevor Lawrence and you just watch a couple of snaps and a couple of throws, and then you go watch a guy like maybe a Geno Smith from back in the day at West Virginia, before you were a football fan, if you watch a lesser quarterback, you're like, yeah, he could be okay. And then you look at Trevor Lawrence, you're like, oh yeah, he's going to be really good. Just the way the ball comes off his hand, the way he finds tight windows, he has every throw. He can throw that opposite field 10-yard out route that in college is like a 40-yard throw on a rope. That's a rare thing. And when the ball comes off his hand and goes 40 yards, 6 feet off the ground, it's something that most people can't do. I get the same kind of feeling watching Justin Fields throw. He's got that kind of arm talent. He's not as big as Trevor Lawrence, but when they were in high school, they were 1-2 coming out of high school, both from Georgia, the state of Georgia. And
remarkable what kind of football is being played in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And you know, they were 1-2, and I still believe they're 1-2, but I think Zach Wilson has made himself the number 2 pick overall for New York.
So Phil,
there,
and Ryan, you'll I'm sure you'll agree with this. The thing that made him the most remarkable about all of this, Josh Allen is very physically impressive. Even Carson Wentz is physically an impressive dude.
Big boy.
Big fella, and can move. The only thing is neither of them did it at 18 years old and won a national championship, which is probably the most remarkable of all of this, that he, as a child, basically took a team that was known for, him and Deshaun Watson helped get rid of the term Clemsoning, which I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but it's not very endearing. It's not a very nice thing to say. Now it is. Well, yeah, the fact he did it so young was another sort of what set him apart, even younger than Andrew Luck did it, and John Elway for that matter.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly what I was sort of looking for in terms of getting someone to almost explain it to me, because last season's draft was the first draft I watched. So I didn't know who any of them were, and didn't know who Jalen Reagor was, didn't know who Justin Jefferson was. I now know who they are, obviously, but so this season has been spent trying to tap into the college game and trying to catch these games. And when Trevor Lawrence's name gets mentioned, I try and catch a Clemson game, because it's just not as easy for me to spend that amount of time. It's sort of like each season, I know it'll get a little bit more and a little bit more. And I know next season I'll be far more invested. I'll pick a college team probably next season, and I'll follow someone. I'll probably be way more aware of the top draft picks coming into next year. So it's more of a, like, I'm not going to try and like cram and then suddenly become an expert and just say what everyone wants me to say. It's more, I'm happy to admit that, like, in terms of the quarterbacks, I just have to read people's opinions and try to amalgamate them into one central opinion, which eventually becomes my own. So your
name of the game,
about
Phil.
That now formed into my opinion.
We are far from experts. We are not experts. We're a couple idiots.
Yep. Thanks, Ryan. That's look. Our co-host Colt. Fantasy football was his window, and he got damn good at it. But it was his window in, and then starting to think about dynasty and stuff like that. Started to focus on a lot of the college games. So it was just a natural progression. When I was I'm still into the Steelers. When I first got in, I was like, who are they going to draft? Start to look at that, just a natural progression. I mean, I think it's phenomenal that the NFL has taken off as far as it has and brought people like this together, which is just really fucking cool. So this is the opposite of moist, Phil. This is a desert. You said you've been there. My understanding is it's a rather dry place. So if it's not moist, who has had the driest of off seasons? I won't say there is one correct answer, but they're in Texas, and their quarterback might not play for them this year.
You can make an argument that there's a lot of dryness going. He makes a lot of females moist.
It does.
But yeah, I was going to go for them for obvious reasons. I think it was just too obvious not to go for. But if I was to try and pick, no, I was trying and pick someone a little bit more.
They're obvious for a reason, Phil. They're obvious for many very good reasons. I mean, it has been atrocious what they've done this year.
Yeah, we get well, we have a so-called fit and proper owners test over here, where when some Middle East gentleman wants to buy a club, there's a 6-question exam that he has to lie on to basically gain ownership of the club. So we're fully familiar over here with terrible owners and terribly run clubs. There, a lot of clubs just go out of business. There's a small club called Bury FC. You may not have heard about it. It's quite famous last year during the lockdown, that the guy just ran it into the ground and then just left. And the town survives on that club. So I completely understand from an NFL point of view that I don't think that can happen. Obviously, with the Texans, they will go on regardless. But how low can they go? That's the way I've looked at it. It's sort of another story comes out, another controversy, another, like, trading all your draft picks. I think he's doing stuff that I'd do if I was in charge of an NFL franchise. Like, in my current state, like, I'd be like, oh, let's just play it like a video game and okay, whatever happens. But the things he's done, it's unbelievable. So yeah, okay, we'll just stick with the Texans. It's easier.
And I quote,
a bunch of war bodies.
The Texans remind me of me at that age.
Ron Geary, that's the owner of the Jacksonville Icemen. That's the name I was thinking of. Ron Geary.
All right, you probably saw Paul do this one. Phil, are you ready for this, my friend?
I was kind of hoping you would do this, because I was like, I couldn't. I was listening on Spotify, and I was like, I don't know what is on the screen, so I can't see how I would have done it. But now I can.
All right, so I'll give you. I forgot talking to Paul what my roommate, who all this is based off of.
Yep.
What he calls the first name there. He's who will be the quarterback for Clemson next year.
Probably the number 1 overall pick in 2023.
Very, very likely. Evan, my roommate, calls him a Gunglier. So that's not right. That's very wrong. So it's not that
far
one.
More entertaining.
It is. I love it. I could not think of it last time, but it is not DJ Agunglier. It is something different. What is it, Phil?
Is it, well, DJ, is it Uiagalelei?
Better than Evan.
It's way better than Evan. I would dare say it was about on par with Paul. Ryan?
Uiagalelei.
The first time I pronounced it, I thought it was Lele as well. Uiagalelei was how I went with it. It is neither that nor Agunglier. It is DJ.
The Hawaiian name, and that AG right there is pronounced as an ing sound. So it's Uiagalelei.
We're all learning in a safe place. So the next one. Phil, this is a Notre Dame linebacker. Take us home.
Well, Mick will kill me if I get this one wrong. And I think he said his name a few times. So Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa.
Well done. Well done. So the third one is an established NFL player. He plays on third downs only. Borderline refuses to stop the run, but he's very good at rushing the passer. What's his name?
Yannick Ngakoue.
Well done. Full disclosure, I don't know how to pronounce this one. Ryan, Phil, anyone?
No idea. My guess is Jimenez.
I would go with that
wrong
as well, because I'm assuming it's Mexican, isn't it? Or Spanish. So
probably of Latin origin.
Yeah, or along those lines. So I imagine the X is pronounced Chel. So it's like Jimenez, something like that. O'Shane.
Let me find it.
That's exactly right, Phil. Well done. Okay, moving on to the next one. So this is the nickel cornerback, first-round pick from last year out of Auburn, now plays for the Miami Dolphins. What do you got?
Noah, obviously.
Bingo.
I'm just trying to work out whether the G and the H are silent, but is like a soft, or whether it's hard. So I'm gonna go with
very methodical,
soft, and go Igbinahine.
Always go hard, Phil. Igbenogany. You had it. You were so close. That was the most methodical breakdown I have seen of a name.
That's the most methodical wrong answer ever.
You use it in a sentence, please. We're at the spelling bee.
We give points for effort here, although the points end up meaning very, very little. So the thing
is, I have listened to the pod twice, and I've listened to Paul pronounce these twice, but I can't remember how he pronounced half of them. So this is genuinely, I'm not throwing this at all either.
I was like, you know what? I was thinking I was going to change these, and I was like, nah, this will be plenty. This will be all right. The next person is absolutely going to get a new set of names. So the next one, a wide receiver for the New England Patriots of completely unknown origins. What is his name?
Now, I do remember this one. And it's mainly because I remember hearing the name previously and going, that's a cool name, but I'd never seen it written down. But that's Gunnar Olszewski, isn't it?
It is Gunnar Olszewski. Breakout star for the Patriots.
Well done. Well done.
That is from memory. But yeah.
Okay, the next one is a linebacker for the Cleveland Browns. What is his name?
I hate this guy. that interception versus the Browns was absolutely infuriating. It was the worst interception I've seen. In my short time, have seen Sione Taki.
Hey, well done.
I wish that guy was a better player because his name is awesome.
Yeah,
it's delightful.
It just reminds me of that. Is it Ace Ventura where he's like goes tiki or something like that?
Yep, it is. That's in my head, and I don't know where it came from, but I now have the origin. We've got another linebacker here, Phil. He went to Stanford, which it makes him a smart man, and he plays for the Indianapolis Colts now. Also, Ryan Fitzpatrick went where?
He went to Harvard. If you didn't,
he went to Harvard. That's where smart people go. They also go to Stanford.
What's the UK equivalent of Harvard? Is Oxford?
Yeah, or Cambridge.
Yeah.
Isn't Oxford like a bunch of small schools put like in one under one umbrella?
That would have been a great question posed to your previous guest, because I'm sure he would probably know that, because I'm sure he's been to one of them.
Non-football related, totally unnecessary questioning. Thank you for keeping us on topic. So name names, Phil. What do we got here?
Bobby as Okereke.
Well done, very well done. And Ryan, you take the last one because I can't pronounce this.
Yeah, this guy's actual name is. I took the last couple of minutes to try and count the letters. I still didn't figure it out. His God-given first name is John, middle name Christian, but he goes by his Hawaiian name. Kicker for the Houston Texans.
So that's his first name is shortened from how many letters?
A lot, somewhere in the 35 to 40 range.
So, Kaimi Fairbairn.
That's correct. That's what they call him on the broadcast. I wish I could share my screen right now. I'm not sure this slide is large enough to fit.
It's not. I'm sure it's not. No, I like big letters. My parents are old.
I'm not a stranger
to Aulo, Ameka, Aiki, Oke, Kumupua. It's a long one.
So people struggled with Tagovailoa last season. They're going to have a work.
My roommate being one of those, Phil. That's what started all this. He couldn't pronounce his name.
My surname is 13 letters long. It's a pain in the ass to write down on forms. It's a nightmare when you ring up for dinner reservations. Obviously not in the last year, because people just think that I mumble.
It's easy to say.
Yeah, but it is. But people just get lazy with my name. So people just like Mountbatten, because that's in the Navy. They say that because there's a famous admiral called Mountbatten. So I'm now I get called an admiral, which is great. And
step up.
Congrats.
Mountain Stevens, because kids weren't really that creative. I never had a nickname as a kid, so names are always a particular sore spot for me when people mispronounce names. So I'm apologizing to all these 9 names that are in
all
front
these
of me
fine,
right now.
fine gentlemen, fine gentlemen. All right, big thanks and shout out to Phil. You can follow Phil on Twitter at PMOUNTSTEPHENS. Check out his website at nextmanuppod.wordpress.com. Listen to his podcast, the Next Man Up Podcast and Eagles Pod. Find it on Spotify, Google, Apple, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Get at them on Twitter at nextmanup_. Hashtag huddle up. I believe that was from the other one. That's a small mistake. Just ignore that. And again, check out the Fantasy Football Charity League presented by Paul and Phil. Phil being with us. I'm not going to say the Twitter handles again. Go find them. It is well worth it. And the Charity League is phenomenal. Thank you so much, Phil, for being with us. This has been fucking phenomenal, man. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Thanks, guys. It's been really enjoyable. You guys are absolutely hilarious. I love just listening to you guys on your
Don't
own.
give us a big head here, Phil.
No.
We have too high an opinion of ourselves anyway.
I'll leave it there then.
No, keep going.
All right, and Ryan will take us out.
Great interview there. Make sure you listen to the Next Man Up podcast, one of the UK's finest podcasts. You can find Phil on that. You can also find and subscribe to the Shall We Football podcast. That's this one on any major podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Google. Every episode of the Shall We Football podcast also available in video format on YouTube alongside other content. So like, subscribe, press the notification bell. I almost read that as satisfaction bell because that's what it's going to be.
It's very similar.
We talked moisture today. This podcast will get you moist. And that notification bell will tell you when it's time to grab the paper towels. Alerted every time we upload. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at SWF_podcast. That is at SWF_podcast. Thanks for listening and good night.